Hey everybody, Chaz Molder, Mayor of the City of Columbia, coming to you today with our next virtual town hall. This one a very important one and one that should be very exciting as well, focusing on the Big Payback brought to you by the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. And we have a lot of local nonprofits here in Columbia and Maury County that will be participating in the 24 hours of giving in the Big Payback. Which is an annual event that has brought over $17 million to over 1,000 nonprofits in the Middle Tennessee community, including several nonprofits here in Columbia and Maury County. And so today, I am pleased to have joining us for this virtual town hall two of the nonprofits that are participating in the 24-hour Big Payback. The Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation with its executive director, Joe Kilgore, and the James K. Polk Presidential Home and Museum with Candice Candeto, the curator of the Polk Home. So Candice, Joe, thank you all so much for joining. We've got a lot to get to. Joe, I'll start with you as the executive director of the Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation. For those who might not know, and for all disclaimers, I am on the board, by the way, of the Healthcare Foundation, a proud board member. Tell those who might not know what exactly the foundation is and what it does.
Sure. Thank you, Chaz. It's great to be here with you today. The foundation was chartered in 2006 to help meet the unmet healthcare needs of the at-risk and underserved in our population. We are a separate 501c3 from the medical center, which is a county-owned medical center. We serve people at the hospital who have great insurance and people who are not insured at all. And we as the foundation sort of fill the gaps and bridge the missing pieces to help meet the healthcare needs, from helping cancer patients with wigs to providing a mobile medical unit to provide free healthcare services in the region. We do the whole gamut of outreach and healthcare for at-risk and underserved people.
Joe, I think one thing that some folks may not realize that while Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation and its primary sort of campus, so to speak, is located in Columbia, the foundation and the hospital actually serves a much broader audience than just here at home.
That's correct. We serve a 6-county rural region. We have 3 other facilities outside of Maury County at Wayne Medical Center, Marshall Medical Center, and Lewis Health Center, as well as a lot of other individual services provided in other buildings throughout the counties.
Well, a lot of important work that your foundation does, and we'll get to a little bit more in a second. First, let me transition over to Candice, who is the curator of the James K. Polk Home. And while I'm not on the board, I do work next door to the Polk Home, which is something I'm real proud of for my daily commute from my house to my office to get to pass by the Polk Home and the beautiful gardens. Candice, obviously, anybody who lives in Columbia or knows of Columbia, one of the first things that comes to mind is James K. Polk Home and just the historic value that it provides. But tell us a little bit about the home and what its operation does and what it's about.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Chaz. So our mission is really 2 parts. The first part is preservation. So we preserve the only surviving home of the nation's 11th president, James K. Polk. It was built in 1816. It's a National Historic Landmark, and it's right in the heart of downtown Columbia. We also preserve and care for a world-class presidential collection, which includes personal belongings of James and Sarah Polk, along with things like campaign memorabilia, objects from the White House years and beyond. And then the second part of our mission is education. So we are committed to sharing these historic resources with the public, both our national, even international audience that comes to Columbia to see this site, as well as our local community. We're really proud to welcome over 1,000 students on field trips each year, in an ordinary year, of course. And we provide a wide range of programs for people of all ages to be able to engage with the really important legacy of James K. Polk.
Well, there's so many things that the Polk Home has to offer for the community. And being the father of a 4th grader, I was looking forward to seeing a field trip bus pull up and having my daughter on the bus. And unfortunately, that just was not to be this year. But Candice, staying with you, talk a little bit about how your organization has been impacted as a result of this COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, so like museums across the country, we did close to the public in the middle of March. And Unfortunately, this is usually our busiest time of the year. This is our field trip season where we usually welcome pretty much every fourth grader in the county and many beyond. So we're, of course, really sad to be losing that. We also had to cancel, of course, Bloodies and Biscuits on Mule Day and our annual luncheon, so two important fundraisers for us, which is one of the reasons that the Big Payback will be a really important opportunity for us to really regain some of the revenue that we've lost through the closure. But we are really proud to be supported by our local community here, and we're really grateful that despite being close to the public, we have been able to keep operating, working from home, and coming in to do essential care of the house and the collection and the garden as well. So the preservation mission is still going strong, and we are still continuing to fulfill the education portion of our mission as well by reaching out through distance learning opportunities, creating hands-on workshops and other programming that we can facilitate online. Really just doing everything that we can to still stay connected and still be sharing this site with as many people as possible.
It's been really neat to follow the Polk Home social media. Really, a lot of some of the new innovations started prior to the pandemic, but certainly that has continued even through the pandemic, and just sort of seeing how the operation has continued and it never stops. Joe, going over to you now, talk a little bit about how this pandemic has affected not just the foundation, but also the people in which the foundation serves.
Sure. Yeah, it's impacted everyone, of course. You know, for us to be able to provide the programs and services that we provide, we have to raise money. And a lot of our fundraising events, the Mule Kick 5K, our Parker's Project, our Shoot for a Cure done by the Gun Club in Maury County, have all been either canceled or postponed. We're hoping to pick those back up in the fall. And while those funds have slowed down, we're still continuing to provide the programs and services funded by the foundation, with the exception of our community outreach. We still have transportation, medication assistance. We still have breast cancer programs going for our patients. So it's really affected, and it's also affected our employees at the hospital. So many have been furloughed because the volumes have been down. So we are trying to use this time and the Big Payback to help our frontline employees. And we're going to dedicate the funds raised through the Big Payback to help frontline employees and first responders here in Maury County.
Well, you mentioned the 5K, and this might be a good opportunity, if it's okay, to let everybody know who might be wondering if it's going to be rescheduled in 2020, that we will be having a Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation 5K sponsored by Reliant Bank, or in conjunction with Reliant Bank, on October 31st, starting at Riverwalk Park. So it'll be the first Halloween 5K that we've had in Columbia in a long time, if ever before. So really excited about that. And you hit on it a little bit already, Joe, but let me just go back to it. We're here today to talk about the Big Payback and how the foundation is one of the participants. But y'all, the foundation has dedicated any funds it receives during the 24-hour Big Payback to a specific purpose. Talk about that briefly, if you would.
Yeah, again, we've had so many employees at the hospital that have been furloughed, and then we've had a lot of changes. Schedules have changed because we haven't been doing surgery like we have in the past, and elective procedures have been canceled, and thank goodness those are ramping back up. But then, as one of the largest employers in the county, we have a lot of employees, and they struggle to meet their families' needs without full-time employment. So we're working to help them and to help the frontline employees. We had such a great outpouring from the community when this started. People wanting to donate PPE and to help the frontline employees. And so we set up our fund so that we have a furloughed employee relief fund, and then we have a COVID-19 relief fund. One helps the employees directly, and then the other helps the other first responders, and then helps provide the necessary equipment that our first responders need and that we need here at Maury Region.
Very cool, very cool. So you're hearing from Joe Kilgore, the Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation Executive Director for the Big Payback, which is a 24-hour online giving opportunity. The funds that the Healthcare Foundation receives will be dedicated to some of the specific needs that are resulting from this COVID-19 crisis. So a really good opportunity to give to the foundation for Maury Regional Healthcare because it will go to a specific purpose and those who are particularly in need at this time. Candice, you touched on the fact that Some of the major fundraisers and events have been canceled or postponed as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. Obviously, Bloodies and Biscuits, which is held on Mule Day, which has become one of the more popular Mule Day events, was canceled, and we'll look forward to Bloodies and Biscuits 2021. But talk about how the 24 hours of online giving, the funds will be utilized by the Polk Home.
Yes, so we've identified 5 key areas that the funds raised during the Big Payback will go to support. The first of those is our critical operations. So regardless of whether we're open to the public or not, there's projects that have to go on. We still have to care for the collection in the home. We have committed to continuing to pay our staff. So that's our top priority right now, is to just ensure that despite this hit, that we'll be able to keep covering the essentials there. We also have some more kind of fun and exciting new projects happening, though. Our kitchen garden is going in. We've had a lot of really generous support to get that project in the ground. So the funds raised for the Big Payback will allow us to do some fun programming off of that and to make sure that we're able to maintain the garden. We also have a temporary exhibit right now called Audubon, Nature and Nation. We'd love to be able to extend that show and to just make sure that we can continue to care for it and to get the loaned objects returned back to the lender, despite this unexpected change in the schedule. We also are always looking for additional support for our education programs, and specifically right now our field trips and Polk's America, which is our long-running lecture series. We'd love to be able to purchase some equipment so that we can move programs into a digital format to reach people now, but also to be able to expand our audience going forward. So that's just a few goals with the Big Payback, but right now we really are hoping this will be a good opportunity for Middle Tennessee to express the pride in being able to preserve a national treasure right here in our own backyards, and to just celebrate the chance to take care of this home for the next 200 years.
Well, that's one of my favorite things about the Big Payback, is that it is a Middle Tennessee sort of region-wide annual fundraiser for a 24-hour period. A lot of information, sort of jam-packed in 24 hours. You're going to see a lot and hear a lot on social media or even television or various mediums on how you can give back. And I think it's important to pay close attention to those nonprofits here right in our own backyard. And of course, we've got 2 of them here today with us, the James K. Polk Home and the Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation. Whenever I have the opportunity as the mayor to speak about Columbia and sort of brag on some of the things that we have here locally, these 2 organizations that are here with us today are 2 that generally come to mind very first. Number one is we have a world-renowned medical institution that serves a region of over 300,000 people, that happens to have a healthcare foundation that is serving the underserved in our communities. It's providing a mobile clinic that has no telling how many thousands of miles it's traveled within the service region that Maury Regional operates. And there's just so much that it does for our community, in addition to having a world-class medical institution. And then you have the James K. Polk Home, and how many communities in this country are able to say that they have a presidential home, not just in their community, but really in the heart of their community here in our historic downtown. And so really 2 very worthy organizations, 2 organizations that we should all be proud of to have here in Columbia. Joe, not to put you on the spot, but I know you're a James K. Polk Home supporter and a student of James K. Polk, the president. Do you have any favorite fact about James K. Polk, or what's your favorite thing about the James K. Polk Home or about President Polk?
I think my favorite thing about the Polk Home is that for so many years it didn't get as much recognition as it needed, and through all the leadership of the board and everyone, it has really risen to the top. And with the topic of bringing the bodies back to Maury County one day, possibly, it's brought a lot of notoriety to the community, and I think it's such an asset, cultural asset for our community, and I think we should cherish it always.
What a great answer. And he was not even prepped for that and did a really good job. And, since I asked you the question, I'll tell you my favorite Polk fact, and I could be wrong. I'll let the curator correct me, but My understanding was when President Polk served as the president and he would enter a room, nobody really knew that he was entering because he was sort of a a shorter fella. And President Polk's wife decided that there needed to be some sort of sort of pronouncement that the president was in the room, and so they came up with the idea of playing some sort of song or some sort of music, and "Hail to the Chief" was then recommended as the song that you hear whenever the president enters. And so that way, when the president entered the room and you heard "Hail to the Chief," then you knew that the president was there and you needed to pay attention and give the respect that the office required. Candice, am I all right about that little historic nod
That's
there?
right. Yep, you got it. I'm impressed with both of you. One of the cool things too about the Hail to the Chief story is that in our collection, we actually have this handwritten music book that Sarah Polk, when she was a young student, recorded different sheet music tunes, and one of them is Hail to the Chieftain, which is the Scottish folk tune that's the basis for Hail to the Chief. So whether or not that's just a really fun coincidence or she was somehow remembering her childhood notebook there, but yes, Hail to the Chief from James
Very cool. Very cool. A little trivia for those watching at home. And then Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation, again, we've touched on it already. Probably my favorite thing, at least right now, about the foundation in terms of what it's doing to serve is this mobile health clinic that is driving all around our region to provide medical services to those who might not have been able to afford medical services or even have access to healthcare. And we know accessibility is one of the big problems for many in our communities. And so this mobile health clinic has really taken the clinic to the neighborhoods and to the individuals that might not have otherwise been able to. And of course, that's just one thing of many things that the Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation is doing. So with that said, I want to again remind everybody that the Big Payback begins tonight, May the 6th at 6:00 p.m., runs for 24 hours. In order to contribute to the Polk Home or the Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation, you go to the www.thebigpayback.org and you click on the nonprofit of your choice and click give, and you can donate through that website. And it's important that you donate through that website because the more that a local nonprofit receives through that specific Big Payback, the more that they might be open to from additional funds that might come in from matching or other avenues. And as I mentioned at the top, there are a number of local nonprofits that are involved in the Big Payback, and I'm going to list them for you so that you're aware. The Pregnancy Center of Columbia, the Columbia Firefighters Park Fund, the African American Heritage Society of Maury County, Boys and Girls Club of Maury County, CASA of Maury County, Center of Hope, Restore Haiti, Maury County Senior Citizen Center, Rural Animal Rescue Effort, South Central Family Center, Watershed Public Theater, and then, of course, we have the James K. Polk Home and the Maury Regional Healthcare Foundation. So, Candice and Joe, thank y'all so much for joining us. We wish your organizations and all organizations the very best over the next 24 hours of the Big Payback, but also over the next 24 days and the next several weeks and months ahead. We know that this crisis has impacted all of us, including our nonprofits and including your organizations, which are very important to the city of Columbia. And I know that going forward, everyone in Columbia, Maury County, and across the region supports your causes and your organizations. And we just say thank you for what y'all do and what you mean to this community. So on behalf of Candice and Joe, we say thank you for tuning into this virtual town hall. Don't forget www.thebigpayback.org. Go ahead and give some of your money to these worthy organizations. Every little bit counts, no matter how small or how large. I know they'll be appreciated. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to give. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.